everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. So my name is Sacha, and as you have guessed, we will talk about data science tonight. More specifically, we'll talk about how at Doctrine we use deep learning and several other techniques to make the law understandable, easy to use every day for lawyers, basically making the law open for everyone. So in this presentation, I have only a few minutes, or I'll be short, but I will try to first share with you the pain that lawyers have when they want to understand the law, and you will understand why they need some help in understanding it, why it is some kind of difficult document to handle. Then I will dwell on some technical challenges that we have facing the law. So if anyone in the room has ever used some techniques on legal documents, you might have faced them too. And finally, I will show you the solutions that we implemented at Doctrine. All right, so Doctrine is started like 3 years ago. And before that, the issue of understanding the law was not really addressed. And we'd like to call ourselves, with modesty, the Google for law. So a natural question might be, why wasn't there Google for law before? So in order to answer this, it might be interesting to just think about what is Google and what existed before it. So Google was launched in 1997, and before that there were other search engines. So in the early years of search engines, you had like some examples here with Lycos, AltaVista, and if I sum up what used to work there, you had a query from a user, so with some words and some documents as a result, and the result just were containing, in fact, the words of the query. So if a web page contains the query word, then it was a result, and it was ordered by some kind of relevancy. So it was okay, it was efficient, but it was not the most relevant results. Why? Because there is a fundamental assumption here, is that when a user makes a query, he knows what he's querying, and that's not true. And when he's using some words, in fact, he might have used all words, synonyms. He might have used like some slang language, because he's writing in his own language. So if you're just looking for documents with the same words, you are missing the point here. What happened there? Google made the point with, I'll try to sum up in 10 seconds the success of Google, so be gentle, but they use something very important, which is the links. The links between pages, the links between documents, and they broke this fundamental assumption, allowing results to not contain the words. So, in fact, they had the PageRank algorithm, and they said, okay, we have web pages, but the most important thing in web pages is the links. And the links between the web page and another is very, very important data to incorporate into a search engine. So Google basically works with links, and the analogy comes here. We are back to Doctrine and the legal domain. In legal documents, you have a ton of links. So we might think, okay, it's great. Why do you have links? In this example, you can see a court decision. If you go to trial for any reason, not my business, but you have a court decision, and in it you have a lot of content, a lot of entities, and a lot of links between them. For instance, your lawyer and you. So you are the party, you have a lawyer, so there is a link between you and your lawyer. You have all kinds of companies quoted in the decision. So there is also a link of you against, for instance, any assurance company. You have this, you have that, you have also previous cases, because if you're not okay with the decision, you can go to appeal. So you have to make links between them. Your lawyer might quote another decision, so you have also these links. So it's kind of document where you have a lot of links. So it's a good candidate for building a Google flow, right? The issue is that with Google, the links are very easy to spot. It's hyperlinks. You have a web page linking to another. Super simple. In court decisions, it's hidden in the language. So the main barrier is to be able to comprehend the language, comprehend naturally defined. It puts in practice some natural language processing techniques in order to unveil and reveal these links. So if you have a very nice algorithm with input text and output links, it's okay. Well, some things happened. In fact, if you analyze the markets before 2015, the legal domain is a domain that is very late if you're talking about the digitalization. And you don't have this input. It's not like something digital, you don't have the text. Here is like some example of a core decision database, physical one, and most of them are like this. And there are a very few proportion of decisions that are digitalized. So it's a first issue, and you might be the best data scientist in the world. If you don't have data, you're useless, you don't have a job. Second point, even though you have digitalized it, so you have scanned everything in the archive, the content is quite messy. It's very difficult to comprehend it. Sometimes you have like handwritten manuscript on it, so you have to clean the data. So for any data scientist who would like to say, oh, this is a fun game for the weekend and try to disrupt this market, good luck, and people gave up. So what we did is that we took a little more than a weekend, and we tried to create the Google follower, and we started in 2016. I talked about two major issues, data cleaning and data digitalization. There are a lot of others. Here we can see like 3 of them. The volume of data is quite huge. You have, for instance, in France, only more than 4 million decisions per year. So if you just digitalize it once, it's not okay, it's not enough. You have to build a whole data science pipeline to gather it. You have another issue, which is the availability and the format of the data. Why? Because I showed you this picture. Okay, it's nice, but you have a lot of variance, of course, and you cannot rely on one simple algorithm to make it work. You have to treat all kinds of formats. Finally, you are not making a POC, your proof of concept. You're just trying to solve a business issue. So you need to understand your clients, you need to understand lawyers, you need to understand their own language. So that's the big bet when you're making Google on a vertical. So they have their own vocabulary, the queries are very specific. And you have to understand the expectations from a product point of view. So it's not just building algorithm and tricks, it's building a product. It's a huge difference in it. So it's complicated, and what we started at the beginning is very simple. It's trying to apply what works on our problem and don't think too much. So we try to just clone and fork some very popular repository, apply it to a problem, okay, it works. No iteration. We try also to make some regular expressions, make it work very quickly, and basically it worked at the beginning, but very soon, since you understood that Doctrine is very core of its business is a data science company, what we built is also a data science company, and we had to annotate a lot of data sets, where to make a lot of research and development in our different algorithms. And we decided that it was a strategic move to be active in the community. We have 3 instances of this here. For instance, we will be speaker at the international conference of, I'm not sure you're pronouncing it well, but CIR in Paris. So if you can attend, please come and meet us. We also posted recently a blog post on more technical presentation on the paragraph techniques that we put in production to better understand the law. So here you have Pauline and Arnaud, data scientists at Doctrine, that work on it. We also are organizers of the Paris NLP meetup occurring tonight in another location. Alright, so that's what we built, the problem we had. Now we understand the pain and difficulties. If we go into some details, what are our major challenges? So, the difference between making a Kaggle contest and building a product is that it's in production, it's live, and you have users complaining. In fact, it's completely normal. You have privacy issues, and while you are making a Calvin test, you don't really care, you just optimize some recall precision. Here you have consequences. So on the first case on the slide, what happens if you try to find a link between a lawyer and decision and you're mistaken? It must happen because you have no algorithms with a 100% F1 score. But what happens is that the lawyer is not happy and he has the right to, and you have to improve. So that's something we are facing, and we have a tendency here to make a priority for precision over recall. On the other hand, we have other algorithms for the anonymization, for instance. So as input, we have a raw decision. We anonymize it and we put it online. And we anonymize, for instance, the parties, the witnesses, in some very hardcore stuff, children. And if you miss it, it's on Google, then they can find it, and you're breaking privacy here. So it's not the precision anymore, it's the recall. So you have, depending on the feature, depending on the product that we are building, a focus on either precision or recall. And it's quite natural that our ambitions grow. If we talk more about the data that we have and not the metrics, we are on the vertical, as I said, and anonymization, for instance, is a big issue. How do you annotate data? You have to read tons of decisions, you have to understand them. It's very tricky. Sometimes the lawyer is the party. So our data scientists are lawyers now. They have annotated so much data that they understand it and they have to delegate it. So it's good that they become more and more expert in the domain, but it's a limiting factor. Also, you have high heterogeneity in the data. You have different kind of type of language. For instance, the law is written in a very strict way, but some commentaries on the law are written in a very casual writing style. And we want to make the links between the two. So our algorithm, our word embedding has to be able to switch from context, and that's an issue we have. And the answer is generally just trying to train all your embeddings on all this kind of data together without distinction. Finally, we have different type of data, as I told before, because you are either using HTML documents, either optical character recognition. So the input is not quite the same, and you have to normalize it, which is a big issue. As I said, you have different kind of language, and it's dynamic. It's wonderful because lawyers love to talk with some kind of very difficult to read for humans way. If you read this paragraph, it's like some syntax that is not really casual, and they change all of a sudden. Cour de cassation, which is one of the highest courts in France, is slowly changing the templates, the style, so we have to train it again. It's not just a one-time thing. So algorithm we had in 2016 will be deprecated, so we have to train it online every day, and it's not that easy. So that was like the kind of challenges. How does it come in practice? How do we map what we call the legal genome, because we're talking about links. So the issue is to come from unstructured to structured data, and we have several NLP tasks that are related to it. For instance, the topic classification, anonymization. Name entity recognition is the core of it. It's as if you had something to overline your documents. And how do you teach an algorithm to do that? It's the main point. And once you have done it, you can build a lot of products. Learning to rank is a very good technique, really state of the art, used also in Bloomberg research. So it's something we implemented also, and these approaches allow to solve most of the challenges I've talked before. If we look in practice what it gives, you have like this kind of core decision, and we are able to say, okay, Madame Dupont is a demandeur, plaintiff in English, and she's linked to a lawyer, Maître Paré, belonging to the Paris bar. And this is the output of our algorithm, or also what is trained by us, what we label ourselves. But what we wish is to have this as output. Once we have this, we are able to, given a decision, say, okay, the main characters, it's like a little story. So the main characters are these guys, they are attacking this company, it happened there, and it also happened before. It also happened before, so we are able to say, okay, there is a decision, and it's making a reference. It's not a clear reference. There is no unique identifier. It would be too easy. So you say, okay, this other decision that day, and it's not enough often to find it. So you have to use all the techniques to find the unique decision that it's making reference to. So you have your name entity recognition algorithm. You have now the duty to build your knowledge base, and that's what we say. So in production, we have this. We're able to say, okay, the guys, the most important characters are this lawyer, this company, this law firm cabinet. And you have also insights of references. For instance, you are reading the law. It's a pain. It's difficult to understand. And you have a reference, and it's really a lot of processing data science algorithms in order just to put in blue the right links to another article. So you have a lot of things. In the end, we make it simple, visual, open, but it's a lot of work behind it. This is also a feature that is really appreciated because you have a call decision and you want to see what happened before. We have to visually show it, and it's really difficult. You have to make some recurrence in it. In the first one, you find the previous one. In the previous one, you find the previous. So it's some kind of tricks here also. I'll try to go quickly here, and for the anonymization part, as I said, you have to find out some things. For instance, the first name and the name. You have to remove the birth date, but not all the dates in the document. So it's tricky, as I said. So to conclude, I try to show you what we do. I try to talk about some techniques. If you want to know what made us choose deep learning over regex, come to talk about with us after this presentation. But it's a long and very iterative process, so we are quite proud of it. If I try to sum up, we have a lot of challenges. This is not easy, so if you want to build a Doctrine new tomorrow, good luck with that, and I'd love to talk with you later. You have a lot of challenges ahead for you, and we face them. Yeah, we are facing them. You have privacy, you have heterogeneity in the data types. We have the fact that you have to rely on some semi-supervised techniques because it's very painful to pay experts to annotate data, and you have a lot of it. So you have all these issues, and the answers, sum up in 2 bullet points, is machine learning, deep learning, and specific evaluation schemes. In fact, it's rather simple. You need to rely on algorithms that make generalized well, and why deep learning over other things. If you want to understand the law, if you want to understand a full text, you have to understand the sequence. You cannot just rely on words and bag of words, and deep learning methods today are the best one able to take into account the sequential approach. So if you want something to understand sentences, use deep learning. So for us, we have a lot of challenges coming ahead. I told you that we are trading between recall and precision. We all like everyone, have a fun score of 1 priority, and it's concrete in the product. We have more and more code decisions in France and from abroad, so we have to generalize well, and that's why it's a good approach to have machine learning, because you don't have to rebuild your whole product, you just have to annotate data, so we can scale internationally easily, and new languages, new challenges. That's what we are facing ahead. Thank you for your attention, and we are hiring, of course.
Hi, great presentation. Quick question. So what is the business model? How do you work with lawyers Do they pay you directly or?
Yes, it's a SaaS company, so we bill them something like €2,000 per lawyer per year. So we enter easily in a law firm, and then someone tries it, say, okay, it's cool, and they generalize. And since we are betting a lot on recommendation on a specific field, it's very important that they have one account per person. So that's a business model.
Okay. And another more on approach level. How do you label the data, and how do you process all the data? You mentioned as the challenges.
Yes. Thankfully, really, it's very difficult. It's something we didn't realize before, but just talking about the tools to annotate, it's very difficult. We saw that Spacey had some tools for it, but we are not happy with it. We used Brad before, Prodigy. We are trying. But if you have any clue on it, we are happy. I was like one of the first employees as a data scientist and hired to annotate data in Sublime text. Like it was really painful, summer and stuff. Like, really, I won't do it again, but it's a pain, and it's something that is limiting the productivity of the team. It's really the game. If you want to build a startup, just run annotation field. It's really good business.
Thank you. Hi. Do you think that in the long run, once you have a fully proven algorithm, all the legal documents correctly online, do you think there will be a point where your solution might be able to actually influence some law decisions, the same way that Google might be favorizing now some sort of results in terms of the search? And do you think that this might be like something you could do in like 10 years probably once?
We definitely want to have some influence, otherwise we couldn't be here. But the influence is not maybe the one that you were thinking about. We want to have the same one as the printing industry. In fact, we want to bring transparency. Today, judges and lawyers don't have access to the data, so they are tempted to make arbitrary decisions because they don't have any other way to do it. So it's the case for lawyers and judges. It's the case for you. If you want to choose a lawyer, you don't have access to any data about them, but we provide it to anyone. Providing data is a way to have an impact. It's also a way to have a neutral impact. It's a real issue because Google has been challenged on that. And it's, for instance, not in our business model to say, okay, we have some sponsors, lawyers that will be like the top one that was billing the most. In fact, we are rather doing the contrary, because today, if you Google some lawyer, but you will find Doctrine. But 2 years before, you would only find the one that had enough money to pay a road. Some guy who would bill a lot of money for WordPress, and it's not fair. It's not related to any data. Today, if you do it, you find the lawyer decisions, and you can make decisions with all the data. So we hope to have an impact, and of course we are very, very careful, and we have a lot of benchmark in the search engine part because it's something tricky, and you meant you have an impact, so you have to be responsible for it also.
We go on.
Yeah, sorry, could you repeat what the incentive is to have an individual account rather than just a global account? Yes, I suppose your solution is quite automatic and not very personalized. And then secondly, to what extent is the solution scalable out of France?
It's really personalized because in fact, in a law firm, you have every law firm wants to be a general, so they want to have some guy in the social part, in the criminal part, and they have different collaborators with different clients and different needs. And there are many things that makes it possible. In fact, since they are working on different fields, it's like Netflix. You don't want to spoil your data because some other guy is working on commercial law and you're working on civil law. Other thing is like collaborative aspect of a law firm is not very huge because of the conflict of interest, and they have to protect the knowledge about the client, so they want to have their own workspace, customized, protected from other people. So personalization is key, and we are making it like possible because we just use the data you found. In fact, we are basing our content on what is read by users, what is the specialty. We are asking them now when they sign up, okay, what's your deal? What are you working with? It's civil or criminal? And this brings value to individuals, not only collective.
You're thinking, and do you think this solution is scalable outside of France?
Definitely. And in fact, you have two reasons for that. In fact, you have in France only 3 to 5 big actors on the domain that were there before, hundreds of years before, in fact. And these guys are the same guys in the UK and the US, just like in the telecom company, like you have a big oligopoly, and their strategy to rely on paper is the same everywhere in the world. So the problem and the need of making it digital and understandable is the same everywhere. So it's the first reason. And the second one is we make a due diligence and we checked in the UK, in the US, and Germany, you have the same issues and more issues also. And in France, it's like a proof of concept because it's not. It's a hybrid system. Our judiciary system is hybrid, both law and case law. In the UK and the US, the market is huge because they rely a lot on the case law, and there is no transparency on that. So I think the market cap is huge.
Thanks.
Last question.
I just have a practical question about your business model. When you say when we search something on Google, we can find the data, but you sell subscriptions. So what do you put on Google? What's public and what's
Very good question. In fact, we put every core decision, every lawyer page on Google. Everything is indexed. So we have more than 9 or I don't know, like 9 million pages indexed by Google, something like that. And once you arrive on Doctrine, you want to click on the links, you want to do something tricky because the UX is nice, we made a good job on it. So you are tempted to do more and you can't. You are asked to subscribe, you are asked to create an account, and that's where it begins. And why are we doing this? Because we want to bring transparency and open justice, so everything is on Google, and because people usually have other solutions, so and they don't find anything on it, so they want to give up, they go on Google, they find a Doctrine, and it's all. So that's the workflow from switching your solution to Doctrine.
Okay, we can perhaps keep on talking business model and so on around a glass of wine or beer. Thank you for all of you to be here tonight and to our 3 speakers. If you get out of the room, on your right side there is a place where you can have a chat together, so please stay with us. I would like to say thank you to BPI for hosting this event. The next data driven will be on July, so feel free to register. All the pictures have been recorded and we share it on our website and the website of First Act. So thank you and talk to you soon and see you soon. Bye.